What's going on, guys? This is Miasin. So we just got OCG Metagame Breakdown number 1 and 2, which is really relevant because it is the first metagame report that we've gotten since they got their new ban list. And basically, in case you didn't know, the ban list did a lot of nothing outside of banning Tearlaments once and for all. I think what they did is like ban the Shizus and ban Chaos Ruler and yeah, pretty much remove all kind of incentive for players to even play Tearlaments. So will we see some copium duelists out there still running the deck? We never know, maybe. And it's the OCG at the end of the day. They're obsessed with Tearlaments. I don't get why, but like I know that some people were like finding alternatives where like they were summoning like a Chaos Ruler at home, aka Black Winged Dragon, the shitty one, and then they were going like Trick Clown effect special, and then you take 1,000 and then you mill 5. Absolutely pathetic, complete garbage. But it is what it is. You gotta do everything you can in order to mill 5. So this is a huge compilation of 322 top performing decks from 70 tournaments during the span of 2 weeks. So definitely a pretty big sample size. Anyways, before we go any further, make sure you smash the like and subscribe button. You already know the drill. Alright, so the first deck, of course, the top performing deck is Rescue Ace, but not by a long shot. And even the TCG, I want to say we're probably gonna have something, you know, just identical now that we finally have Age of Overlord. This deck also, even though they have a larger card pool at their disposal, they can play the Auradon combo so that they can actually synchro summon a bunch of negates, like F.A. Dawn Dragster as well as Herald of Arclight. Not all of them are doing that. The most popular build is the Link build, where they just go like SP Little Knight, or like Masquerade into that, or I don't know, like Terahertz or Dweller on their opponent's turn. Even though Tearlaments is no longer in the picture, so that's not really relevant. But yeah, it's not really interesting to see Rescue Ace being the best deck because it's very boring. It's a very safe deck. It plays a lot of bricks as well, so it's like even when you're good with the deck, it's not like you're always going to be winning. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Like I said, it's kind of like the new Salamangreat deck, but probably even less skill-based, I want to say, because again, everybody and their mother is going to be playing that deck. Again, in the TCG at least, in the OCG, I think it's a little more diverse, but yeah, in the TCG, it's going to be a Rescue Ace everywhere, I can guarantee you that. Anyways, the second best deck is Labyrinth, which is very funny because I don't think this deck is going to be too popular over here because we have Unchained, and Unchained is a direct counter to Labyrinth, and even Tearlaments has an extremely favorable Labyrinth matchup, so yeah, don't expect this deck to be, you know, everywhere, but it's still a very good deck, of course. And they do have a bunch of cards that we do not have, like Transaction Rollback. That card is nice. Basically, you're trying to discard it with your furnitures, and then you're using the graveyard effect to copy the effect of one of your Labyrinth cards. One of your normal traps in your grave. Or you can use the on-field effect to copy like an opponent's trap, but you're usually not going to be doing that. It's like the best discard fodder for your furnitures. So yeah, very good card. And then Purrely, obviously, this deck is... yeah, they might have semi-limited Delicious Memory. I don't think Purrely complete dodged it, but whatever, it doesn't change too much. This deck is still broken, again, in the TCG. As long as Sleepy Memory is a 3, the card's cracked. Draw 6, like really, or at least draw 4. Anyways, Magician, so this is a deck that always existed in the OCG, well, I mean, ever since they got Age of Overlord again, because the Supreme King support is actually really good. Got a level 7 monster that just special summons itself and then searches a card, and then the Light Worm is also not too bad, and technically it could summon Zark on the opponent's turn, but for some reason people are not doing that. They're just like exploding and making a big board at turn 1 because they also have Electrum, so the deck is completely different over there. And again, the Exceed the Pendulum, the new Link 3 monster, is very disgusting. We're going to be looking at that in the future. Well, I mean, very soon, because we do have deck lists for all these decks. Anyways, Runic, so this is, hold on, I think Fountain is at 1, but the deck is still really good. Very good Rescue Ace matchup again, because that deck doesn't really do anything to interact with the Runic engine, and this is like a stun deck, by the way. It's not like a Runic Sprite. So yeah, very annoying bullshit deck, I hate it. And then Branded, not a lot of Chimera for some reason, I don't understand, but... whatever. Anyway, Sinful Spoils Fire King. That deck used to be like so much better. Hold on a second. I think that one, yeah, you know what? Yeah, okay. So it's pretty much the exact same. Yeah, no, wait, hold on. I literally just clicked on the exact, I'm just so stupid. Okay, Sinful Spoils Fire King. Can't see it anywhere. Yeah, maybe it didn't exist yet. But yeah, no, it's a cool deck. Basically, you can summon the Fire King level 1 with the 1-for-1 Snake Eye Diabell Star card. Gets your stuff going. It's a 1-card combo. It does a lot. So it's not too bad. I've watched actually games in the OCG online, like on YouTube, where, you know, I was seeing that deck in action, and it definitely looks really cool. Anyway, Centurion, that's a deck that we're going to be getting November 17th. So we're basically YCS Bologna and Italy is going to be featuring Centurion. And it's a deck with a lot of one-card starters, summons King Calamity very easily on the opponent's turn, but it does have a lot of issues going second because your engine doesn't inherently break boards whatsoever, but it can play a lot of hand traps, a lot of utility cards. So if you can fit in like some engines in it, could work. I considered the Runic engine, and then I was like, no, hold on, that doesn't work because you need the field spell Centurion in order to sync on the opponent's turn, and then the Runic fountain is not going to be able to, like, it just doesn't work, unfortunately. Yeah, so it is what it is, but yeah, no, it's a cool deck for sure. Some people are playing Horus Centurion to just have more gas. Naturia, Horus Centurion, I don't really see the synergy. Super Heavy Samurai Centurion is definitely one of the better ones because there is a rank 4 Infernal Flame Banshee, searches a Pyro monster, so you can search Shudeya, and that is your 1-card starter. So if you don't have your Centurion engine going, these Super Heavy Samurai cards get you there. And if you already have everything that you need, well, you just make Omega or Baron, and you just keep playing, so that's just like more gas, and the Super Heavy Samurai cards definitely look pretty insane. In the OCG at least, they still have the Link 1, if I recall correctly. That's kind of cracked. Anyways, Manadome, so no, that deck is also very good, as well as in the TCG we got Trilisugda, the level 6 Synchro, so that you can turn Rio Heart into a 1-card combo. Even the Field Spell is a 1-card combo, but it's not that great. And Dragon Link, whatever, that deck is never gonna die for some reason. Vanquish Soul, Jiaolong from Age of Overlord definitely helped a lot. Sun Avalon Rika, apparently that deck doesn't just exist in the OCG, in Europe, as well as in the OCG, that's nuts. And then Chimera, finally. No Runic Chimera, that's interesting because from what I've been exploring, I believe that Runic Chimera might actually be the best version, obviously with a very small branded package, so branded Phrygian and Fallen of Albaz. But a Horus Chimera is definitely an interesting concept, even though I think it clashes a bit. Or maybe not, actually. Yeah, it looks cool, but I don't know, I'm gonna have to look into that. And then Mikanko, I keep hearing about that. I know Pac made a video recently where he said that Mikanko was actually slept on and actually better than what people thought it was. So yeah, maybe might have to check what this deck does, but from my understanding, it just looks like a very gimmicky going second deck that never does anything if you don't do anything. So if you know how to beat Mikanko, it's actually very easy to beat. And if you do nothing, then it also doesn't do anything. But it can summon monsters that are like untargetable, indestructible, and just kill you at the speed of light, I think. So yeah, you really have to be careful when you play against Mikanko. Anyways, Tri Brigade, Drytron, Salamangrate, Sky Striker, a bunch of decks that just aren't good, honestly. Like these decks, like they always exist, but like they just suck. It is what it is. Adamancipator only exists in the OCG because of Block Dragon. Hero, Mathmex, whatever, Meta Beat, what? Pun, Gold Pride Punk, rather. Very interesting, so yeah, that deck also, I didn't see it in a while, so it's interesting to see that it's finally back. Tearlaments, okay, that's big copium. The deck sucks, like I said. Trap Tricks, Trap Brigade, Lyrilusk. Again, more decks that just aren't good, but are just doing like okay-ish. And then Exorcister and a bunch of decks that I'm not gonna be going over. Outside of the fact that Unchained, again, for some reason, is barely represented. That is wild. And Flunderee's only one. Whereas again, in the TCG, things are so much different. Unchained is insane over here in the TCG. And Flunderee's is like the best shifter deck, so obviously it's extremely good. Flunderee's is extremely bad, but it plays like a lot of extremely good cards, like Featherstorm and Shifter. That's it. Yeah, I'm literally not even joking. Anyways, the rest of the... yeah, I'm not gonna cover anything. I guess Tenyi Sword Soul is noteworthy here. Again, I also think that this deck is very good, and Marincess is also not too bad. So yeah, a lot of decks that are barely doing well, and then you've got like 51 Rescue Ace where... is that deck really that good? To me, I just feel like Rescue Ace sucks. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But yeah, look at this build. I mean, it's very standard, very just boring, like I said. A lot of cards that are just give me eye cancer. Like, 1 Prosperity, because it's limited, and then 1 Super Poly, even though it's a 2, 1 Talent, there's no way to search it, no Thrust, and then 1 Ghost Ogre. Yeah, okay, thinking. It's just like, what is this? Like, bruv. And then, wow, no, the Boundless Semi-Limited Airlifter, that's so unfair, Bernard. It changes nothing to their life. And then Impulse, so some people are back and forth on this card. Maybe you want to play 3, 2, 1, 0, potentially. You don't really have to play this card. If you don't play this card, you might as well cut the Reinforcement of the Army, but you probably should not do that, because you're trying to play as many Airlifters as possible. That's the 1-card starter. And Reinforcement of the Army only searches these 2 cards. You're obviously never trying to Surge the Hydrant, because that's not a 1-card starter. Which is funny, because 1 for 1 and the Snake Eye 1 for 1 are 1-card starters. But not the Hydrant itself. Yeah, that card sucks, because you have to use your normal summon to get a surge that you can't do anything with if you already committed to your normal summon. So yeah, it's really bad. And they finally have Garura as a Super Poly target. It only took 27 years, so yeah, must be nice for you guys. Even though Super Poly is still a 2 for some reason, and only choosing to play 1. Actually, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. In a bad way, like disgusting, not as in like, oh my god, that's broken, but like disgusting as in, ew, like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting. Anyways, a lot of Link monsters, yeah, whatever, side deck, the Bestials are all limited, so yeah, 1 of each, which is also very ugly. I don't understand how Dragon Link can be performing well when all their best cards are limited. Very interesting, but whatever. I guess Saronir is a 3, right? And then Baldric is also limited. And Lubellion might be limited, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, honestly, in my head, it's just like a dogshit deck. Also loses to Maxi quite hard. Anyways, yeah, no, not really anything else worth exploring. I guess there's a Thrust in the side, so you can kind of search that way. Yeah, but it's a 1-of, so it's kind of like saying, oh, it's an unsearchable 2-of, basically. This deck list is completely different. We can see Unending Nightmare on the side deck, very good against Runic and Centurion. So it makes sense to see this card, it's really good against Floodgates. A lot of less 1-ofs and 2-ofs in this one, a lot more 3-ofs, or just, I don't know, like cards that kind of fulfill this a similar, somewhat similar purpose, like a lot of hand traps, even though this deck already has a lot of space for hand traps, so 3 Ash, 3 Maxi, 3 Imperm, as well as 1 Ghost Bell. When you think about it, like, sure, it's a lot, quote-unquote, but it's not even that much. Fenrir is not a thing, and they don't really play the book cards over there because there's no Kashtira. And there is also less Purrely, or I mean, rather, the Purrely over there, they make Noir on turn 1 because they have more delicious memories than us. So the books would be bad, whereas over here in the TCG, some people are still playing the books or whatever else cards that might be good against the trap card to summon the Noir on your turn. So it does make sense, but yeah, whatever. Nothing else to really cover here outside of the fact that this is the synchro build, so it does play more bricks, but you actually make a lot of negates actually if everything goes to plan. But you are ending on 2 light monsters, so Dragster and Herald of the Arclight, or you could make like Borrowed Savage and something else, or like Baron and something else, and then kind of play around Super Poly. Anyways, now for Labyrinth. So this deck is very interesting, and also made a video recently talking about Arias the Labyrinth Butler. So this card is interesting because it does change the dynamics of the deck a little bit, depending on how you deck build at least. So with the Kuklok, people actually were playing 3 Kuklok and 3 Transaction Rollback with 0 Arias for the longest time. But recently we started seeing kind of just like a change of heart in people's change of mentality, I want to say, with people's way of deck building. So people are now dropping the 3rd Kuklok and adding more copies of Arias. And they're also playing more non-Labyrinth cards, and they're playing more trap cards overall, because this is the monster-heavy build, and it's still playing a decent amount of traps, whereas I've seen some Labyrinth builds that were barely playing any traps, which is hilarious. Like, again, you are consistently drawing 5 monsters in that deck sometimes, and you're still getting to trap cards because it plays on the opponent's turn, and it just sets trap cards and uses them, and then just keeps looping them with a lovely. But I want to say everything that I'm seeing right now just looks very logical. I also like the fact that it's Extravagance over Prosperity. In this deck, because of the fact that you're always discarding, you need quantity over quality. All your cards do the same thing anyways. The only card I'm kind of iffy on would be the Punishment, and Imperm. I don't even think these cards are too good. But Karma Cannon is insane because, just like Akira explained here, is it Akira? It's always Akira, right? Of course it is. Yo, shouts to you, my man. Holy shit, what happened to my voice? Anyways, Karma Cannon pretty much shuts down almost all kind of summoning mechanics outside of fusion summoning. So it's really good if you could actually summon, like, use it on turn 0. So yeah, the card is pretty filthy, and then the extra deck, whatever, just a bunch of 3-ofs. By the way, this is the best deck at abusing Typhon, because you don't really have to like summon too much. You just go like normal summon any garbage monster, and then summon the Typhon, and then jump over stuff. So if your opponent has a bunch of negates that are like 3k and higher attack, well, this kind of just breaks the full board in a way. So it's a really nasty card, but yeah. Anyways, the side deck, Super Poly with some targets. I mean, the Chimera Fusion isn't even that relevant. Beast, Fiend, Illusion, yeah, it could come up, yeah, we never know. And then Garura, Mudragon, no Starving Venom is kind of shocking, in my opinion. Starving Venom, Dragostapelli, and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, yeah, so you're only really using Super Poly against Rescue Ace when they're playing the Synchro build, and maybe the Link build, but yeah, but then you would have to fuse away like 2 dark monsters. I don't know. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I just hate the card. They still have a pointer at 3. That's ridiculous. That is so stupid. And Eradicator, not even main decking the card. Just fuck it. Skill Drain, also not playing the card whatsoever. Just only citing 1 copy. It makes sense when the card is only at 1. It's like a 3 of or a 0 of in my eyes, because yeah, I mean, it's not a searchable card as well, so it makes no sense. I mean, you might as well, but whatever. This is the Unchained build, so you only need to like play 1 of the Escape as well as 1 Sharvara, and you need like 2 Labyrinth monsters to get into the Yama, and then search the Sharvara. And then you destroy like a trap card you control, and then summon the Sharvara, link off into the Unchained Soul of Rage, and then set your Escape. So Escape, in other words, is the brick, but Sharvara is not necessarily a brick. I mean, it's not ideal to draw, but it's not like... I think at this point it's kind of like the same thing, so whatever, it doesn't really change too much. And is there anything else to cover? Side deck, I guess, this is very interesting. A lot of 1-ofs here, finally. So yeah, 1 Keldo, 1 Mudora makes sense. We're also seeing that in the TCG. Phantasme, I really disagree how... This is not, I think, the first time I've seen Phantasme sided. Yeah, so this Rescue Ace player was also siding Phantasme. Makes sense because you're shuffling back your bricks. But in Labyrinth, I guess the one reasoning is that worst case you just discard it for your furnitures. And you can also draw into furniture, shuffle back garbage cards. Makes sense, but like, I hate the card. But like, Rescue Ace is always link summoning, and nobody's really playing too many copies of the talents and stuff. So yeah, Phantasme might actually be not too bad. And yeah, sorry, I just keep scrolling. A lot of 1-ofs, but again, in this deck it makes sense. And yeah, Ghost Ogre. Again, this card is gaining in popularity because of Centurion. Now, for Purrely, there is very little to cover. Okay, so my doubt was correct. So they are the Delicious Memory did get semi-limited, and they have 1 Sleepy. Honestly, I would not play this deck whatsoever in the OCG because I think it's just like completely demolished. And also 2 Desires, 1 Prosperity. That's really ugly to look at. 3 Traps. This deck must be like complete dog shit going second. Actually, I take that back. The deck must be good going second because everything that's like related to Happy is still a thing, and you can still hard make the Noir very easily. The issue must be going first, actually. I think the going first must be like infinitely worse. And in this build, you're actually losing to like Kaijus and just garbage cards because yeah. And also your follow-up play is probably way worse, so I don't really like too much. Summon Limit, Unending Nightmare, again, this card is very popular. I don't really like Summon Limit as a card overall because if you have a bad hand and then you have to use Summon Limit and then you top deck into like a play, the Summon Limit is probably gonna kill you. But I guess in this deck, you can just go like normal summon a cat and then Exceed Summon and then you're fine. So this is like justifiable in a way. Now this is one of the more interesting decks because we don't have it in the TCG, even though we just got the Supreme King cards in Age of Overlord. It doesn't really matter too much because they have Electrum and we don't. And this changes everything. And they also have the Starving Venom Pendulum monster. I mean, it's a fusion monster, but it requires 2 pendulums. So this is how, like, you know, they were... I mean, Pendulum FTK was killing you back in the days with the Gate 0 and Infinity to search instant fusion. And then summon the Lyrilusc Independent Nightingale. And then you were copying the effect, and then you were going burn 4k, game. But yeah, from my understanding of things, this deck is just like a deck that makes negates. So very just... I mean, whatever. It's not very unique, but... yeah, a lot of, I don't know, a lot of clunky ratios. I don't know if Steven would necessarily approve of 3 Shrine and 1 Foolish. Looks a little redundant because, I mean, I guess there's also the Destrudo. So yeah, you can send the Dark Worm. I don't know if Light Worm has a graveyard effect. I don't think so, but Dark Worm and Destrudo are definitely decent targets. I don't know what Destrudo does outside of help you summon Baron and Savage. I guess Masquerena and SP, but like, it's kind of shit. I guess beyond the Pendulum, yeah, it's like 1 effect monster and 1 pendulum. Well, I mean, it's 2 effect monsters including a pendulum. So yeah, I guess that works, but whatever. And then this is the first time I've seen Xyz on core, actually. Yeah, not really popular, but it's still decent against Purrely, obviously. And nothing else that is too worth going over. Even though this is a very unique deck, again, they could summon Zark on your own turn, but they're not doing that. That's what I said at the very beginning of the video. And finally, we got to Runic Stun. So they're not playing Amano Iwato anymore because the Rescue Ace deck can just destroy it or negate it with the Extinguish or Contain. So instead of that, they're just playing Maxi as their only monster. And this deck is really frustrating to play against. If you don't have Cosmic Cyclone, they just have like an infinite grind game. And Runic Fountain to 1 is just very dangerous. I don't know. Like, it's really risky to just play one fountain, but obviously they have no choice. And if it gets banished, when you just lose the game. There's no card that allows you to recycle back a card from the banished. But yeah, this deck looks like the opposite of a fun deck to play against. 3, there can only be 1, 3 goes in match, 2 rivalry, this card recently got semi-limited, and then the 1 scale drain, 2 torrentials. Even playing the shitty runic spells like the whatever this is, and then this is like, I forgot, yeah, banish cards on like from your opponent's deck equal to the amount of cards like he controls. This one makes your opponent draw cards, so we were never playing this card. And then this is like kind of, this is like the out of all the bad ones is the best one. Like when your opponent like searches a card, you just discard a card from your opponent's hand, and then the other 15 cards are like obvious. Yeah, so it's really annoying to deal with, and only one duality is very interesting. They do have 3 card of Demise, whereas we only have 1 over here because of True Draco. They screwed us over. And then 3 of every single runic monster outside of Sleipnir only at 1. And then 1 Typhon and 1 SP Little Knight. Makes a lot of sense because SP banishes itself, and then when it returns, it's in the main monster zone, and you can start summoning your runic monsters again. This is also relevant for Runic Sprite, by the way. And then Inspector Border in the side, of course, fun for the whole family. Some going second cards because, yeah, you need your maxi to draw into something relevant. And then, yeah, Imperium as well as Grave of the Super Ancient Organism, and a lot of cancer that just really reminds me of the Mystic Mine decks. This is literally Mystic Mine, but without Mystic Mine. Anyway, so yeah, in conclusion, the best decks are Rescue Ace, Labyrinth, Purrely, Magician, and Runic, as we can clearly see. And Tearlaments is no longer in the picture because they got demolished in the ban list. Like, no shit. they have no more Ishizus, no more Chaos Ruler. Everything that was good about them is no longer a thing. So yeah, I guess you could say good riddance. It existed for a little too long, but at the same time, it is kind of sad for Tearlaments players. I'm totally not biased. Anyways, that's pretty much all I had to showcase for this video. Guys, let me know your thoughts about the OCG format in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.